Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Combat Sports UK, and I am joined right now by Shah Kamali, an undefeated now professional mixed martial arts fighter. How are you doing on this Sunday evening, sir?
Very well, thank you, Taylor. Very well.
Good man. So obviously we made our professional debut just towards the end of October. How was it to finally make that professional walk? You went, what was it, 5-0 as an amateur, and now we made the professional walk.
Yeah, 6-0 as an amateur.
6-0.
All in the first round, and a bunch of titles as well. And it was the right time for me to transition to pro. So there was a little bit of nerves just because it was in Amsterdam. It was in a different country, but I've been active this year, man. I've been active since I've had my amateur debut. This was my 7th fight in under 2 years. So
yeah, that's right.
Making the walk, it doesn't get easy every time, but you kind of get to, the reality of the expectations. It gets a bit easier.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at like you said, all those first round finishes, I'm looking at some of them, and it's 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a couple of minutes. It's like, yeah, I mean, is that just something you wanna just get in and done? Like you've kind of followed that into your pro debut as well with levels in Amsterdam. Do you just enjoy getting it done in the first round and then being able to finish your night?
Do you know what? You don't get paid by the hour. So I'm just there to do my job, get out, and stay healthy, man. Because if you get injured in there, like I know everyone wants to play, have an entertaining fight, but if it means that you get hurt, I'm not willing to be a part of that. I want to, finish the fight and get out of there, man. Make my money and go home, be happy with my family. That's it.
No, nice. That's the right way to be. Get out of there injury free, and then go spend time with your family. So, talk us through that professional debut. It was the 29th of October. You fought up against Jimmy von Bemmelen, like you said, in Amsterdam on Levels Fight League. Kind of, how did the opportunity come around? And then talk us through the fight as well.
Yeah, so the opportunity for that fight, it was so Levels, they had the 8-man heavyweight tournament in March of this year. And as you know, my teammate Mario, he won that.
Yeah.
And they wanted to obviously get some more guys on their shows, and they asked me about fighting if I was willing to do my professional debut on Levels. And at that time I was 4-0 maybe, but I wanted to have a few more amateur bouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I said after my last one in August, I said, it's time now. I contacted the promoter. We had a conversation. Asked him to get me matched up, and we got matched up straight away for October. And obviously Mario's the headline. In the lead up to this fight, people don't know this, but I actually suffered quite a bad injury. I dislocated my knee in sparring.
Ooh.
So I could not wrestle at all for 4 or 5 weeks. It was just strictly boxing.
Yeah.
And I was just working on strengthening it just so it's okay in the fight. That's why I was wearing the knee pads, the knee sleeves in the fight. I don't usually wear those. And it was just playing a little bit on my mind, but on fight night I always feel ready to go. So but those little things kind of play in your mind. Of course the fight went how it went. He did sneak a takedown on me, but I got up straight away. It was an unexpected one. I think need to work on a little bit of that range management. He did switch to southpaw, but pro debuts go like that sometimes. You just don't want to be that guy who loses on his pro debut. It happens to a lot of guys. They lose on their pro debuts, and it sets you back 10 steps. You just want to get off to a good start, and then obviously the next few fights I can work on. If the thing I love about professional fighting is 5-minute rounds, because 3-minute rounds in amateurs, you don't feel like you have much time. The rounds just go like that. Not that I've ever experienced. I mean, I have experienced going one full round, but it just goes like that. And I want to obviously take my time a little bit more, and because I do like to think a little bit and break down my opponent and let me see their movements a bit more. Whereas amateurs a bit more, um, it's more fast paced, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on that just came out of that. First of all, the stand up, you use kind of Derek Lewis jiu-jitsu. I think when I watched the fight, I watched you kind of get taken down and then think, nah, you know what, I'm just going to stand up, and he just stood up and then took the fight to the feet, and then you were just like, I'm just going to finish you now. It really looked like from an outside, without obviously knowing about the dislocated knee, that you were just in control the whole time. You talk about that calm mindset. Well, was that how it felt for you, kind of in the cage on fight night?
Do you know what? So I think this fight, I was actually when I went in the cage, I felt a bit too calm
Mm,
because I'm not sure if it was. Usually I warm up a little bit more. I'm not trying to blame it on warm ups or this, that, and the other, but I'm not sure. I felt a bit too calm, but it's a weird one. I'm not sure.
mm.
I think that once you get in the groove of things, it just clicks into place, and you just realize, all right, it's go time. You know what? I need to just finish the job, do the job, and get my hand raised, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and speaking, like, touching on that mindset point of view, when I spoke to Mario earlier as well, which you'd be able to see on the channel for those that are watching this, he talks about similar kind of that mindset. Is that something that Stuart Austin is kind of putting into you guys in the team, and just kind of keeping that composure and keeping that calmness when you're in there? Or is that something that comes to you quite naturally anyway?
That comes to me quite naturally. I think me and Mario are both similar in that sense. I think he's a bit more. I think he's a bit more calm because he just has like he has this mode where he just zero emotion in his face. He can't to read nothing. I have similar, but I think he has it on a different level. But I think we both just naturally have that thing because um we've both competed in sports and things our whole lives, so we're kind of used to that, just dialing in and having that laser-like focus. And
Mhm,
to have that laser-like focus, you kind of have to detach from any emotion and just be like almost robotic.
mhm. Yeah, and you also mentioned in there your strategic view of your career so far, right? Taking a couple of extra fights in the amateurs. At what point did you realize, yeah, this is the right point now to take this professional debut?
I think the after my fifth fight, I think I thought, I want to just get one or two more, just
Hmm.
because I didn't feel like in the cage, I didn't feel like that sort of it's a kind of like the clicking feeling that you get. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's the feeling that all the you're prepared for anything,
Yeah.
whereas you need a little bit more experience. And on the last fight, my last amateur fight, I felt everything just click. I felt really good in there, and that's when I knew I sort of knew, you know what, I need to take this to the pro game. I want to just be able to use all the tools as well, like elbows, knees,
Hmm.
all of
Hmm.
that. Like, I want to completely use the full arsenal.
Hmm. And then moving forward, is it going to be another fight with levels? Do you think? I've just checked out their website actually before chatting to you, and they've kind of got a card they're putting together for February, maybe. So is that something you're looking towards now?
Yes, yes, 100%. I'm looking towards February. Get 2024 started off strong. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always about activity. I want to stay fit, healthy, and if I'm fit and healthy, I'm gonna fight as many times as possible in a year. So February, that's what I'm looking at, and then we'll see after that because you know it's the pro game. If you rack up a few big wins and you can already see the path to the big organizations.
That's right, and kind of moving towards that future as well. It's really interesting looking at it from an outsider's perspective, right? You've got yourself, Mario, and Stuart, and it's kind of like Mario's a little bit further ahead in terms of he's done the tournament, he's won the belt, he's got a few more professional fights under his belt, but it's similar records going through the amateurs, and then you've obviously got Stuart who's fighting at Octagon. How do you kind of see your career path going? Obviously, it's still early in the pro days, but there's a lot of options nowadays. What would you kind of see for your future?
That's a good question. You know, personally, I want to fight and get as much experience around Europe and Asia as I can. I want to look at fighting in Rising
Hmm.
or anywhere around there. Granted, it's not a restrictive contract because I've heard that one championship and organizations like that they have extremely restrictive contracts.
Yeah.
But I really want to just get that experience on the global stage because
Hmm.
I think it's important as a fighter to build your brand in other countries and get your name out there. I think a lot of UK fighters, they like to stick to the Cage Warriors route, which I don't
Hmm.
necessarily disagree with. It is a very tried and tested route. You rack up however many wins and you get to you can kind of get fast track to the UFC. But I feel like it's quite limiting in the sense that you're going to be fighting a lot of regional talent and you're not going to get that. A lot of Cage Warriors fighters, they do kind of suffer when they get to the UFC.
Hmm.
Some of them, they rack up a few losses and then they get cut because maybe they don't have that experience fighting in big European shows. I'm not sure, but that's just the way I see it. And but especially in my case, because I'm a heavyweight, I really want to test myself out. There's not a lot of UK heavyweights. Half of
Hmm.
them, I in my gym or we've trained with them before, and half of them are up north.
Yeah,
Tom
exactly.
Aspinall's crew and the like. So there's not a lot of heavyweights. So to get good fights, you have to go outside of the UK.
Yeah, I think it's quite a smart strategy to look towards something like a Ryzen. I mean, obviously, we've seen the rise of Octagon recently, so they're always going to be an option as well. I know
Yeah.
age is one that's particularly important to you with the Bangladeshi heritage. So just talk a little bit like that and what it means to represent Bangladesh on this stage.
Do you know what? It means a lot because there's not a lot of people, especially in pro sports, especially as a Bangladeshi, the only pro sports that really get recognition is cricket
Hmm.
and things of that nature, badminton or whatever. But on a global stage, they haven't really seen MMA fighters that are Bangladeshi. So I got a lot of big attention over there because they shared my debut. It's got millions of views on
Wow.
Facebook, got about 2-3 million views on YouTube, which is
Yeah.
which is crazy, which is insane if you think about it. It's just my debut and it's already racking up millions of views because they've never seen it before, and I kind of know that, but at the same time, it's crazy to see the feedback. They love being represented
Hmm.
because I'm proud of my culture, my heritage, and it means a lot to see that support, and especially even in my local community, people see what I'm doing as kind of positive. I'm showing people from around my local area, you can dedicate yourself to something positive.
Hmm.
It's very important for me in the area that I come from to be able to do that and show, like I'm from the same place as you, and I can do this, so you can do it too.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can see how much it means to you because when I watched your pro debut, that's the first flag that got thrown to you, and you really really proudly wear it in your Instagram profile as well. So I really admire that, and I really admire your attitude in how you're taking it. 2 or 3 million views is nothing to sniff at, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing it for you guys and representing. I mean, do you think MMA is kind of like one of the best platforms to bring through athletes from the region, but Bangladesh as a whole and the wider region, as opposed to something like a more mainstream sport like football, for example? You don't see many breakthrough in football.
That is true. I think it's because I think opportunities are it's based on more merit in MMA.
Yeah.
If you rack up the wins, there's no denying it, and there's no bias or anything like that. If you're an entertaining fighter, no one cares where you're from. Like you're just going to be entertaining, right? People want to tune in and watch.
Yeah.
No one cares if you're from Tajikistan or Brazil or this or that. If you're entertaining to watch, people are going to tune in.
Hmm.
So it's different in things like football because it's team sports and you get a lot of people you want to get your chance in the starting 11, but fighting is based on matchups, right?
Hmm.
People there aren't that many people willing to be fighters in the first place.
Yeah.
So the path is easier in fighting, and you can make your name a lot easier and get yourself out there a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, getting out to Asia on one of those fight cards would be a massive way to do that as well. I'm sure it'd bring a real crest of support. And I guess because maybe there's not, I don't know, especially from watching one, you don't see that many heavyweight fights. I guess in Rising you do a little bit more, but especially in one, you don't really tend to see so many. So there's a real gap in the market, so to speak, right?
Yeah, 100%. The thing about one is there's a few, but once you get a win or two, you're going to be fighting the top guys like Bushesha
Mm.
or Grishenko or the champ. What's his name? Begins with the M. Forgot his name. My bad. But
Yeah.
you rack up 2 wins and you're going to be fighting for the title, and that's not what you want. You want to kind of develop yourself.
Mm.
I guess if you've got a good record and you go there, then it makes sense for that. But at the beginning of your career, you want to kind of, you know, get 5 or 6 fights out the way before you start thinking about those organizations, maybe.
Yeah, sure. And Mario Pinto told me to mention to you about Sexy Beast. He says you guys have a bit of a a bit of a bromance through Sexy Beast. So he told me to mention that for you.
It's a favorite movie for sure. We quote it all the time. It's the most quotable movie.
Go on, throw a couple of quotes at us. What's some of the most memorable quotes from Sexy Beast?
Ah, you're putting me in a spot. You know what? The one that gets to me the most is like when he's just insulting Gal. He's just calling him a fat bastard, a fat crocodile, a
Yeah.
fat bastard. You look like a crocodile. Look, a fat bastard. Look like Idi Amin. Know what I mean?
So you two just go at each other with Sexy Beast quotes all day, right?
Every day, every day. It's the first thing you say, and it's just the first thing we say to each other when we're training. It's just a quote.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to mention just before we wrap up?
Just want to say thanks to all the people tuning in and watching my fights. Thanks to the Bangladeshi community. They're giving me so much love. Thanks to the people that support me locally. And obviously, thanks to my coaches, man. It's been, without them and my team and like the help from them, this is not possible. I know I go out there and I ultimately bear the responsibility, but they help me so much. They put a lot of energy into me, a lot of time, and we're all sacrificing together. So I want to thank them as well.
Amazing. So that's undefeated now, professional 1-0 fighter Shah Kamali. Keep your eyes peeled for February, Amsterdam, Levels Fight League. Hopefully that comes off. Thank you very much for your time this Sunday evening, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Taylor.